Hello folks, the Old Texan here. Today is May 25th, 2020, Memorial Day here in the U.S., a national holiday that we use to remember and maybe a little honor the men and women that have lost their life in service to this country. I'm standing at our local cemetery at a little rural town kind of in the inaccessible part of Texas. Very small little town, 1,500 people in a 1,000 square mile county. But I brought you out here for one reason. If you'll notice, there are no flags anywhere on any of the graves. The area where I'm standing is the area where a lot of our Civil War veterans are lying in rest. There are also World War I, World War II, Korea. A lot of my friends and family are here. And the one thing that I noticed as I was thinking about the friends and family that are out here, out of all the ones that I know and can track, none of them were drafted. Every one of them volunteered. And it brings me around to why I'm changing my normal format and doing something a little more controversial. And it kind of revolves around three words: risk, arrogance, and ignorance. And how I perceive that they have changed over the decades of my life. So what put the burr under my saddle today? Actually, it's not today, it's something that's been kind of dragging on for a long time. And it's something that we've put into our culture, society, daily lives, that there is a method of removing risk from life, whether it be through legislative action, whether it be through, just personal condemnation of a person's actions. To put it bluntly, that's a fantasy. We can help. There are things that everyone that can do. We know because, eat right, exercise, don't tug on Superman's cape, use your seat belt. They're all logical things, and they have a definable benefit. What we've done is, since my opinion now, and let's go ahead and do the disclaimer. I'm not a sociologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a learned historian. I am not credentialed in any manner of social sciences. I'm just an old man that, through a series of fortunate and sometimes unfortunate circumstances, managed to have careers and jobs that took me literally all over the world. Standing joke is I've lived and worked on 6 of the 7 continents, and I'm not going to do Antarctica. At the same time, while I was there, I was also introduced to pretty much all levels of society. To put it bluntly, I have gone from septic tank cleaning to teaching doctors and everywhere in between over the 5 decades that I spent wandering around. So you will not find any text in the articles of the New England Journal or any of the proper tomes. These are just my opinions, and they're based upon my experience. Yours may be different. If so, look at it from your way. This is mine. What I see that we have done is that we have taken the tangible payback actions, eating well, and turned them into impossible dreams, to where no longer is a person at risk of broken bones or blood. They're at risk of hearing a word that they don't want to hear, or being exposed to an idea which is not 100% in line with theirs. That will not work in a society, period. There's a phrase that's being thrown around right now in response to this global medical thing that's going on, and the phrase is herd immunity. I don't think most of them are using it right, but they're using it anyway. I think that a culture also needs a form of herd immunity. There needs to be a confidence at a gut level, not just because someone has told you, that your mom patted you on the head and said, "Oh, you can take care of that, Susie, don't worry about it." Susie needs to be able to draw upon her subconscious, her reptilian brain, the confidence of knowing that, yes, I can handle that because I've done it. My friends have done it. We know that it may be a little uncomfortable, but we survive and we keep on going. And that doesn't mean anything in particular. It's a generalization of how we learn to overcome the daily frustrations of life. I tied that, and that's the first word that I threw out, risk. You need to be able to take risks. Now, pretty much everybody has a different level of what they perceive to be an acceptable risk. Way back when, I used to race dirt bikes. There is a large group of people that would immediately say, well, that's pure insanity, that's a risk that nobody should ever take. Maybe, for them it is. I happen to have a level of expertise that reduced that risk. That level changed and grew with time as I moved on and found more and more ways of controlling that risk. So we need it. Risk has got to be out there, and those of you from whatever side of the spectrum that you fall on that feel that you are so much smarter and have so much more power and so much more foresight to see what is going to come, and that your standard shall be the standard for 330 million people. My word to you is sit down and shut up. It's not your job. You cannot do it. We have tried for roughly 10,000 years of our history to do that. And as long as people do not conform to one single standard, as long as there's still a bell curve of different traits with people, you're not going to put a single standard into place that's going to work. And that ties to the other two words that I brought up, arrogance and ignorance. They're not normally really traits that most people like. We all have them, okay? Ignorance, because, and I draw the line between ignorance and stupidity. Ignorance means that basically you just don't understand it, or nobody has ever told you, or you've never looked into it. Stupidity is that you have, and people have told you, and you still don't understand it. We have a ton of ignorance, and it's based around the word ignore, where we ignore occasionally what's going on around us. Arrogance is the supersizing of competence. Arrogance usually comes from insecurity, from not being confident enough in yourself. Go back and think about risk, to where you have to put on a buffoonery to the world to make them believe that you're confident and that you know what's going on. Both of those are problematic. Where they become seriously dangerous is when they merge together. And from my viewpoint, it seems that more and more every day we have a larger group of our society that is melding those two into a screaming, fanatical diatribe of how their ideas are the only acceptable ideas, their way of life is the only acceptable way of life, and you will conform or else by any means necessary. So there you got it. One of the ruminations of an old man. Not something that I'm happy with, not something that I'm sure a lot of you are going to agree with. There will be a few. The ones that do disagree with me, all I ask is that you kind of back off, relax a little bit, have a cup of tea, whatever it takes for you to, become quiet in your mind, and just look at A, what you're doing, and B, what is the reaction. The reason I find this so important, and why I'm willing to sit here and suffer the slings and arrows and diatribes of putting out any kind of a statement on a society, I know that there will be coming, is that I take a somewhat historical viewpoint on this. And my viewpoint is that all through history, every time that a culture or a society has grown to the point of where we start trying to control the everyday actions of everyone, it has ended with lots of broken bones and blood. Just the examples that we pretty much all study in school, from the Roman Empire falling to the Soviet Union falling, all share that common trait. Yes, they had other traits and other actions that went with them, but at their core, it came down to the fact that you had a group of disassociated, controlling, arrogant, and ignorant people making decisions for a society that they were not connected to and weren't paying attention to the reactions to their actions. To the few of you that have been in a place around this world where you have seen the gore, the pain of what happens to people when that does finally come to fruition, you'll know what I'm talking about. To those of you that haven't, I pray that you never ever have to, and that none of our people which we're honoring today, those ladies and gentlemen whose names are written on walls and gravestones, are never joined by the current members and the future members. So, for all the brothers and sisters out there that we're honoring today, walk tall, walk proud, and may your name never, ever be on a wall somewhere that we read off on a Memorial Day. Thank you. Have a good day. Oh, real quickie, later this week I'll be rehashing, beating the dead horse, digging up old ground. One of the old timers from about 5 years ago of what is an MOA. And yeah, I know that there's already 23,486,000 explanations of it already out there, but I'm going to try to take it in just a little bit different tack. So until then, see you folks. Enjoy.